In the repair shop today, Steve is stumped by a precious wartime clock.
I'm just too nervous that it's going to actually end in tears.
And Dom comes unstuck with some heavy metal.
I've come so far. We're so close now to just getting it completely apart. I can't leave it. I've got to try and get it off.
But first, in the repair shop, actress Anne Marriott has brought a fragile reminder of her late husband.
Hello. You all right? I'll take that for you. OK. Glass. Matt?
The man for this job is resident stained glass craftsman Matt Nichols.
Hi there, I'm Matt.
Matt, hello.
All right. Let's have a look at this then.
What are we opening here?
These are pieces of glass that my husband rescued from an old music hall theatre, the old Bedford, when it was being sort of finally demolished. These pieces, I guess, must have come perhaps from like in between the auditorium and say the bar at the back.
Right, yeah.
Just sort of to indicate to people where their seats were.
Oh, that goes in there?
Yeah, the orchestra, and I think
Right, and this one's boxes.
the posh seats, I guess.
The posh
actually.
seats, OK.
The Bedford Theatre opened in Camden, North London in 1899 and was a much-loved variety theatre until it closed in 1959. It lay derelict for 10 years before finally being demolished.
Your husband rescued them?
He did. His great interest was theatre, and he produced theatre programmes and published a theatre magazine. I have a vision in my mind of him sort of, you know, stumbling over fallen masonry, discovering these dusty objects, fishing them out, and realising the treasures they are. Must have fallen in love with them, really. Sadly, after his death, they'd spent years wrapped in newspaper and up in an attic.
What do you reckon, Matt? Can you do something with these?
I can indeed. I mean, it's nice when you look at this one that there's no broken glass. This one's obviously part of a bigger window, so you can see that all of the lead's been cut at the joints there. So from a kind of restoration point of view, I think this one's going to be the easiest one.
When these are fully restored, where are they going to live?
Well, I think they're going to live in my front room.
Okay.
Because if they were sitting in a frame in front of the window, then I'd walk into the front room and that would feel very much like the other home, which is when you walk into the theatre, that's what it feels like as well. It feels like home.
It kind of feels like you're always going to have the theatre there in the house with you.
Most
when you've got these
definitely.
up.
I think that's the ideal thing, actually. It would just be fabulous. I don't know how possible that is, but...
Anything is possible. So if you leave them with us, Matt was definitely going to work his magic and restore them back to their former glory.
That would be absolutely wonderful. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thanks very much, Anne. Brilliant.
Take care now.
Lots of actors will tell you, I think, one of the favourite theatres to walk into are those Victorian theatres. And these pieces of glass are what you see in just these theatres. So to have them looking the way they're supposed to look, well, it would have been wonderful if that could have happened while Sean was alive, because if we would go to the theatre together, then we'd be admiring the same sorts of things in these sorts of buildings, actually.
Now, that's a nice story, isn't it?
That's a really nice story. It's kind of taken from the theatre.
Yeah.
Her husband was in the theatre.
Yeah.
She's in the theatre.
Yeah.
And now the theatre's going to be in her house. It's fantastic.
So you're going to bring them right back up to date, spruce them up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And make them look good, yeah?
Yeah, I am indeed, yeah.
OK. What we need to do, take them over to your bench now.
Yeah, all right.
Come there.
A rubbing is the first step in any stained glass restoration. It acts as a template to ensure that when the window is dismantled, each piece of glass is returned to the correct place. In this project, Matt's hoping it will help him to recreate the entire broken window.
So with this one, obviously, I'm going to remake it like this, all intact, and put a different lead on the outside. And for this one, instead of just keeping it this shape, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these bits of outside glass here as a gauge, and I'm going to cut new pieces so that this orchestra piece is also going to have a beautiful surround for it.
Family heirlooms are special for many reasons. and some of them have extraordinary stories to tell. Tom Ridgway and his father Tony have brought along a particularly treasured possession that is steeped in history.
Hi, I'm Steve.
Tom?
Hi, Tom.
Tony.
They're hoping that horologist Steve will answer their Mayday call.
Here we are.
Right, what have we got? Propeller clock.
Yes.
I think there's a little bit of woodwork that needs doing on this as well. Will, have a look at this.
That's really cool.
The propeller means a lot to us as a family because it was the propeller from my father's aeroplane which he crash landed after being shot down in the First World War.
That's incredible.
That's amazing.
Yeah. He was in the Leicestershire Regiment to start with, and then when the flying corps started, he volunteered immediately for the flying corps.
Not a lot of people would have survived
Yeah.
crash landing an aircraft
No, I mean,
in
he
those
was
days.
quite badly injured, apparently.
And did he talk much of the days of flying?
Never. Never.
Really?
Don't think many people did. I've got his medal and then his wings.
That's amazing.
It is. Do you know what aircraft it came from?
Sopwith Pup, which is a biplane they used in the First World War.
How did you manage to get it back?
The ground crew sort of got hold of it from his aeroplane
Yeah.
and fashioned the...
Made this for him.
What a great story.
yeah.
Really? It's
Really?
Yeah,
story.
it is.
So it must mean quite a lot to you to have it sort of, to keep it in the family and...
Well, it does, particularly
Yes.
with the history of it, you know.
Yeah.
Because I look after it now
Yeah.
and then pass it on to my son
Fantastic.
in due time, and then hopefully on through the family for many generations to come.
That's lovely. Now tell me about the clock. What's wrong with it?
It doesn't work, that's it.
How long has it been stopped?
I don't know, I'm afraid. But a long, long time.
Well, we're going to make it into a working clock again. I think what I'd like to do is to take the electric mechanism out, scrap that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then put a quartz movement in, a battery quartz movement in, be safer and look better. You won't know any different from the front.
No.
Were the hands and the dial exactly the same as it is now?
They're the originals as far
Okay.
as I can remember.
We'll polish the case up.
I mean, it seems to be in pretty decent nick.
Yes.
And I actually quite like the finish on there now, and I don't think that you'd want to sort of polish it up
No, don't
too
want
much.
to do
It's
too
much. No,
Not too much.
He won't sand all the writing off.
No, because again, it's owing to the sort of plane that he was flying. So yes, needs to be kept.
And we'll fix the base so that it's tight and work
Yep,
well.
that'll be great, yep.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It'll be wonderful to get it looking really, really nice.
Yes, it's been in the family for decades. And so, yes, it'd be nice to have it all working again. Quite exciting, actually.
Great bit of history behind that.
I know. It's a pretty cool clock, isn't it?
It is. I mean, you think that if Tony's father had been killed,
Yeah.
then all of the generations wouldn't be here. It's such an important piece to them.
To know what that's been through, it's quite nice that they managed to salvage that.
Absolutely fantastic. I think we can improve this quite a lot. I think the dial, I think we can improve on that.
Oh yeah, the split in the front.
Yeah. The dings on the base. You can't really do too much about that, can you?
Well, I can give it a go, but I could do with a good old clean, for sure.
Yeah.
Steve's first job is to remove the outdated electrical mechanism from the clock and replace it with a quartz one. Battery-powered, a piece of crystal quartz produces a regular electric pulse that keeps the time.
I'm just going to pop the movement out now. I just need to snip the wire off. That's the easy bit. And this should just push out. It's a bit tight. It's completely bunged up. And I think that's quite dangerous. It's mainly electric. It's been soldered badly here and here, so that could be shock danger or fire danger, so it's a good job we're taking it out, putting a quartz movement in it. I'm actually thinking now that the dial is plastic, and the staining might clean up. You'll still see the actual crack, but it'll clean up and look much nicer. Now that I've taken that part out, I can give the case to Will. Will, would you like to come over and take this case?
Oh, have you already taken it out?
Yep, didn't take long at all.
That's quick.
There we go. Careful that base doesn't fall off.
OK, here.
Yeah, do that.
Lovely. Brilliant.
OK.
I'll get on it. Thanks, Steve. It's really unsteady on its legs. So what I have here is hoof glue, and it's called hoof glue for a reason, because it's made from hoofs. It's pretty much like what I would use to glue back most antique furniture. And it's probably the best thing to use on an old piece like this as well, which should be sturdy enough to sit on the mantelpiece for another 100 years.
Stained glass restorer Matt is in the midst of repairing 2 treasured windows rescued from a demolished Victorian theatre.
So we've got the drawing here. I'm just taking the outside lead off. I'm just teasing this out. There we go. When you're taking apart the window, putting it onto here, it's very important to make sure they go on immediately. You don't want to mix anything up at all. You could have what seems to be 2 symmetrical triangles, one on each side, but when it comes to actually making the window, chances are they might be slightly off. The angles might be slightly different. I mean, this window is very old and hasn't been remade. The cement that's in between the glass and the lead, which goes all the way around, you can see here, it's just very powdery and it's just flaking off like that. And that just means when you're taking it apart, it's actually fairly easy.
The difficulty will come in building a replica of the original window.
What are you up to now?
Hi there, Steve.
Looks like you're wrecking a piece of
It does, doesn't it? Well, these are the original pieces that came in. One of them was fully intact, whereas the other one, you can see here that there was just the central section and none of the outer part to it. So these I actually salvaged about 5 or 6 years ago.
All right,
so
okay.
This is all original Victorian glass.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be the best match I can get for the tints for this piece. So.
Oh, right. So you're cannibalising these bits.
From the stuff I salvaged, which is the same tint to match
exactly the same.
Yeah, it's really good. That's one of the main problems with restoration, is it's actually getting the right colour glass.
It's spot on.
It's really good.
Yeah, that was lucky or...
Well, yeah.
Do you have loads and loads and loads of bits of old glass like this?
I've probably got too much, maybe.
Yeah.
But, you know, at some point, yeah, you might use them.
So all of that's missing?
All of that is missing, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
So I've set myself quite a big job.
Many of the items that pass through the doors of the repair shop are reminders not just of family history, but of working life.
Right. OK, cool. If you follow me in.
I will do.
All right. Dom, I think I've got one for you, mate.
Maggie Collis has brought in a highly unusual piece of equipment that's been in her family for over 100 years.
And there it is.
All right, so I've gathered it's heavy and it's metal.
And it's very rusty.
Sounds perfect for me.
So please tell me, what is this?
It's a shoe stretcher.
A shoe stretcher?
If you've got a pair of shoes you really like and your feet are just not quite right for the shoes, you can stretch the shoes and then you can wear them.
Right.
The shoe goes on there and then that turns and that alters this. And these alter...
Push these in and out. It's a clever thing.
It is a clever thing. It's very clever.
It was my father's and his father's before him. They had a shoe repairing shop.
So where was this shop then? Where did they have it?
It was in a place called Southall in Middlesex.
OK.
I have in here a photo of the original shop. That's my father, boy. That's his father.
Yeah.
And that's the shop from the front, from about 1919, I would say.
And why do you want to get this restored then? Why do you want it like, done up now?
It's such a reminder of my childhood, because I used to work in the shop from the age of about 6. And I used to do all the change and the money and what for people.
Yeah.
And then as I got to be about 8 or 9, I used to paint the soles of the shoes so that they looked OK before they went.
Yeah.
And from then on, I just served in the shop.
So you remember this in the shop then?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Cool. When did it close down then, the shop?
It closed down about 30 years ago when my mother died. And somehow I think this was put into the shed.
Explains the rust.
And yes, and I just came across it and thought, no, I remember this from when I was young. It made me a bit tearful, really, because I hadn't seen it for so long.
Yeah.
And it just sort of brought back all my childhood. And it's the only thing I've got left, really, of my father's whole lifestyle.
Well, don't worry.
You'll look after it.
We'll look after it, exactly.
So what would you like us to do with this then?
Make it work. As I've got older, the feet have got wider and the shoes have stayed the same, so I'd really like to be able to stretch the shoes to fit my feet.
OK.
Make it work again.
And I have a lot of elderly friends who may well need to use it as well.
So, Dom, what do you reckon?
It's good. I mean, the 30-odd years in the shed has taken its toll, but...
That's a very kind way of putting it.
But it's all there. It's just all seized up and rusted and... Yeah. I think we can definitely save it.
Cool.
Just depends how far you want to go, really, with the paint, things like that. Do you want to preserve some of the history of this old flaky paint, or would you rather see it clean and as it was?
If it was painted red, it would be fantastic because it would just be as it was. Just as I remember it through all those years,
yeah, I
really.
understand.
So, if you leave it with us, Donald's going to work his magic on it, and as soon as he's done it and got it looking red again, we'll get back to you.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm really surprised that something can be done with it because it's in such a sorry state at the moment. It's a huge memory jerker for me. It reminds me of my mother, my father, and all the many hours we spent working in the shop and having lots of fun as well as work. It means a lot to me.
Are you going to be able to get this working?
You save all the good jobs for me, don't you, Jay?
I should do. This is proper seized up.
It's really seized up. We need to loosen up all of the seized up, rusty parts. We need to try and break them all free. I think we've got to go all the way and get it looking like it did back then.
You sound quite confident about this.
You know, I think we're in a good place with it all being fairly complete.
Cool. I'm happy with that.
No problem.
All right, mate.
Thanks, Jay.
Metalworker Dom is used to dealing with seized-up machinery, but this shoemaker's gadget has been rusting for over 30 years and could really test his metal.
We've just dunked it in this pot of gunge here, just to try and remove the rust. Once that's happened, we can take it apart. This is not strawberry smoothie in here. It's actually a mix of automatic gearbox fluid and acetone, mixed 50-50. It's a bit of an old sort of farmer's trick from back in the day. Just working it in with a brush, with a stiff brush, working it into all the little areas. There's lots of little small bolts and bits that we need to free up. Under this red paint, which is obviously a new addition, we can see here there's beautiful black, original black paint with some gold, really nice gold hand pinstriping. Now it's raised the question of, do we paint it red, as Maggie remembered, her father painting it, or do we go back to the original black with the gold pinstriping as it would have been from new originally? I'm not sure at the moment. I'm going to leave it in overnight, come back in the morning and see what the results are.
The repair shop team is working on a much-loved clock, embedded in an aircraft propeller. Woodwork expert Will has taken on the job of reviving the mahogany case.
In this jar, I have a secret concoction that I've made up to clean off waxy surfaces and dirty surfaces. Look at that, decades of dirt on there. You can see already, it's a lot clearer. You can actually see the lettering a lot better. Once I've done that, then I can give it a bit of a polish with a natural shellac polish, which is what you use for French polishing furniture. What you can't do is put shellac polish on a dirty surface. If there's any wax or any dirt, you might see a reaction or it won't stick to the surface. So the best thing to do, always make sure that the surface is clean.
While Will continues his clean-up operation, Steve has a rather grimy dial on his hands. He's hoping Kirsten might be able to help get it sparkling again.
Right. Bit of advice. It's a one-piece plastic dial. It has some pretty dirty oil in the back there on the mechanism, and it's just stained that. I'd love to just dip it in some detergent and wash it off, but I can't because I'm concerned that I'll take the numerals off.
Yeah. Have you tried anything on it yet? No. Should we just have a go with some acetone first of all, just to try and remove some of this grease?
I don't think it's made any difference at all.
No. Absolutely nothing.
I mean, I did wonder about putting some bleach, but I don't know what'll happen to the rest of the plastic.
The trouble is, it's quite difficult to control it, really, isn't it? We could just try it, perhaps on a little bit on the back and just see.
Yeah, that'd be good.
What happens?
If you tried it up there.
Yeah. Should we give it a go?
Yeah, go on then. Oh. Cleans up so well, doesn't it?
Really cleans up well, yeah, look at that.
I know.
It's a shame we can't do that on the other side.
Does it wash all the numerals off? Or you could paint some on? Could we try the crack on the inside?
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I thought initially.
I'm a bit nervous. Do you know what? I think, actually, we're going to leave it.
Okay.
I'm just too nervous that it's going to actually end in tears.
OK.
With glass harvested from his own salvaged pieces, Matt can begin rebuilding the windows of the stained glass theatre panels. First, he's creating the surround for the smaller panel completely from scratch.
One of the really satisfying parts is the glass cutting. So these are the salvage pieces. I've used the original windows glass as a template, and actually because the cutter, the wheel, isn't right on the edge, I have to basically go in 2 or 3 mil. So you can see there I've got a bit of a gap there. I'm going to use my straight edge to make sure it's all straight like that. And then I can cut, and then you can just go and break it, like that. At this stage here, you can see these are just pieces of glass that don't have any housing on them yet. So here you've got your lead knife to cut your lead, like this. Then you're going to use horseshoe nail. And these horseshoe nails are basically keeping it in place. So you start in the corner here, and then you work your way outwards.
Once all the glass is encased in new lead, the entire piece can be secured with solder.
It's looking really good.
Outside, metalworker Dom is tackling a cast iron device that's riddled with rust.
The shoe stretcher's had its bath overnight in the pink solution. Got it out this morning. I've just given it a quick dunk in a sort of hot soapy water just to scrub it and give it a good clean and remove all of the old grease and anything like that. That's penetrated in as much as it can. The first job I'm going to try and do is just to try and free up this heel part here because it's still impossible to turn. I'm going to warm up the block so it will, as it gets hot, it will expand ever so slightly, tiny, tiny amount. Just expand a little bit just to try and break that rust joint. OK, that should be enough. Let's have a look. This dial here will turn that, so that should start moving, hopefully. I've heated up in there. I'm just going to give it a little tap. I don't really want to be hitting it with a hammer too much. It's obviously fragile as anything. Just sometimes the shock of hitting it just frees up. It's just starting to move now. A little bit of oil. There we go. Yeah. That's it. I'm really pleased. It just shows that red potion did its job. It looked like this was almost ready for the scrap pile. It was so rusty, but it's well on the way now. A good place to get the rest of it freed up as well.
Meanwhile, Steve's managed to give the plastic dial on the propeller clock a gentle polish. Now he's got to get it ticking again.
I'm now just going to pop the new movement in. So this is just a simple quartz movement. Unfortunately, this fits in there just beautifully. I haven't had to do any cutting around at all. Just got to pop that centre nut in there. That just screws on. So all I need to do now is to make these hands fit onto the movement. The brass centre of this hand, which is called a collet, I need to modify that so that it fits the new movement. That means I've got to make the hole slightly bigger, so it just fits onto the movement friction tight. I'll just see if it fits onto the movement. No. You have to be really, really careful when opening the hole up because it's easy to go too far. It's almost there, not quite. So I need to just take the tiniest fraction off. And then it will be ready to go into the clock case.
But Will and Jay are still deciding on the best way to iron out the imperfections in the 100-year-old mahogany propeller.
You're polishing it now, aren't you?
Yeah, so you actually see all the lettering there now. So it's nice because it's sort of giving it a slight bit of depth.
Well, that's brought that right out.
So, I think you can see here, there's a chip on the base.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So what I intend to do is fill that out and use a really thin layer of polish. So I can use some pigments in that layer of polish to disguise that fill.
OK, cool. You're doing good, mate.
Thanks, Jay.
Once the chip is filled, Will carefully blends in his repair until the damage is completely camouflaged. Matt is putting his all into restoring two cherished stained glass windows. Now assembled, he makes sure lead and glass are bonded together for years to come.
So this is the part that I really enjoy. I put the cement over the window and then it sets and creates a watertight seal and also makes the window very rigid and strong. Big dollop around the edge. It does feel a bit naughty when you put all these on. You've got this nice, kind of crisp, clean-lined window, and then you're just putting all of this kind of like cake mix on top of it. I wouldn't eat this cake mix, though. And what you're looking to do is make sure that it goes underneath the lead. So a good way to do this, I was taught by a guy called Trev the Lead, and he said you go up like this, then you turn the piece 90 degrees, and you do it again, and then just do it until you're back at the beginning again. I've got the whiting here, which I'm just putting over the window, and what this does is it draws up the moisture from the cement. Just got to wait a little bit, and that's going to set.
Meanwhile, Dom's dismantling the cast iron shoe stretcher so that he can clean every individual component. But there's one stubborn bolt holding up the whole operation.
I've come so far. We're so close now to just getting it completely apart. I can't leave it. I've got to try and get it off. Oh, I don't know. Seems like it's moving. Yeah. There we go. That's really good.
The pieces are finally ready for a long overdue deep clean.
You can see some of the old, really old bits of pitting just from use, wear and tear. I think it'd be a shame to get rid of all of that history and patina there, so I'm just going to polish the surface and leave some of that. Obviously an old piece, so it's nice to keep some of the character in there. But all the parts that you touch, I'm just going to try and buff them up to a mirror polish, which is as they would have been back in the day.
And Dom's finally settled on the colour for the finish.
So I've decided on painting the shoe stretcher red again, as opposed to the black that it originally was. Although it's not 100% accurate in a restoration sense, I just think it fits better with how she remembers it, and it makes it more individual to her. I'm using an enamel paint for painting metal parts. It's very strong, hard-wearing, super nice glossy paint, so it should last for years. I'm really glad that we went the extra mile and took the sidearms off with those pins. They were stubborn and difficult to get out, but this is allowing us to be able to get into all of these little nooks and crannies. It should all help to make it look really smart once it's all painted and finished.
The repair shop has also been breathing life back into another important piece of family history. Tom has returned to collect what he hopes will be a constant ticking reminder of his late grandfather's service and bravery.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
Good to see you.
You too.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. I'll get your clock. Right. There we go.
Wow, that looks amazing. And it's saying about the right time as well.
It is. That was lucky.
Yeah.
So I've taken the old mechanism
Yes.
out. I've exchanged it for a battery quartz mechanism, so it's a lot safer now. The old mechanism was really quite dangerous. The dial, we've cleaned up the crack the best we can. So it's actually a plastic dial.
Is it? All right, I didn't realise that.
So there's not a lot we could do
with it
apart from just clean it the way we have. And Will has polished the case up beautifully.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
And as you can see, the base doesn't fall off anymore.
Oh, that's great. Yes.
So
wood looks beautiful.
Yeah, we're really pleased.
My dad will be very, very pleased.
Yes.
To have it going again. And
yes. And your grandfather's memories will be with this piece.
They will indeed. Yes.
Thank you very much for bringing it in.
Well,
that
thank
was
you
a real joy to work on.
All your work on it. It looks amazing.
Thank you.
It means a huge amount. I never actually met my grandfather whose plane the propeller is off, but it's our sort of one link with him. Hopefully it will stay in the family for a very, very long time to come.
After cleaning and painting all of the components of the ancient shoe stretcher, Dom is now painstakingly piecing them back together.
Because all of these parts have been stripped and dipped and blasted and everything else, all the moving parts are just dry. So as I assemble it, I'm just gonna keep greasing up the parts. The threads and the moving parts and the wheels will need a little bit of grease. So far, so good. No drama, no problems. I've got a couple of pins to put in here. And then, yeah, I'm almost there. I better get on and get it ready because she's coming down. Definitely looks different. I'm a bit anxious to see her reaction, actually.
The shoe stretcher from Maggie's parent shop had been rusting away in her garden shed for over 30 years. She's ready to be reunited with this treasured slice of family history.
Hello.
Hello.
How are we doing?
Fine, thank you. You?
Yeah, I'm very good.
Good to see you again.
So, Maggie, what kind of improvement would you like to see done there?
It would be very nice if the rust had gone, and even better if it worked.
OK. Should we let us see it?
Yeah, come on, let's
Don't
have a
tell
look.
me it's green.
Let us see it.
Oh, wow! I can't believe it, and it's red as well.
It's red, yeah.
Look at that, it's shiny. I can't believe it. How did you manage that?
It was
That's
a lot of work.
incredible. And all the lines on here that you've put on and all the markings, absolutely brilliant.
Character.
It looks lovely.
Good.
And
Good.
where you've cleaned this all up, you can see all the marks around here.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Very well done.
Thank you.
It'll take you hours and hours.
Getting it apart was tricky. Yeah, it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
So when was the last time you saw this working then?
Well, I must have been somewhere about 15, I would think.
Right.
And I'm not going to say how long ago that was, but
No
it was
problem.
a very, very long time.
A couple of weeks ago, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, I have brought with me a pair of shoes. And so what you do, I want it to be stretched at the top here because it cuts into the foot there.
Oh.
So you're going to place it on the hip. Then you need to get...
Come forwards with that.
That comes forward.
Yeah.
Now you need to pull that back to make the shoe tight on.
And back.
Keep going, yeah, keep going.
Oh.
That's it.
So now it's on there firm. Now you want to stretch this, so you're going to... Can you see how that's coming
Yeah.
open?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do it more than that now. Leave it on for 2 days and just gradually stretch the leather out. You can't do it too quickly, otherwise you're going to either split the leather or get the top, the uppers, coming away from the bottoms, from the soles.
Oh, okay.
Looking at this now, it's just fantastic, and it brings back so many memories. I can almost see it sitting there beside my father as he was working.
Glad you're happy.
Yeah, very happy.
Good.
I'll be even happier when I can wear the shoes.
You can wear the shoes, yeah.
So where's this going to sit now? Where are you going to put this?
Well, it's not going in the shed.
Thank you.
And it's
Thank
not
you.
going to sit in the rain.
Good.
I've got a very large fireplace, and I shall put that beside the fire, and it won't look too stupid there.
No, it'll look nice.
If I put it
Yeah.
in the middle of the dining room table, it might not look.
Yes, maybe not for the coffee table, no.
And it would, I think, it would be a good talking point.
Yeah.
And all my friends are going to come in with their shoes.
They're going to bring their
Get
shoes round.
stretched.
You'll be working again.
And I
Yeah.
shall have lots of tea parties.
Yes.
It's fantastic. I can't believe you've made it look like that. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much indeed.
Thank
It's
you.
absolutely brilliant. I really had grave doubts that anybody could get it to work, never mind get it to work and look so fantastic. I just think he's like a magician, really. And of course, the memories that go with it are very strong because it was just a part of everyday life for so many years. It's a great memento. Really, really pleased.
The Victorian theatre windows that Matt's been restoring are nearly done, but he needs Will to help him get them over the line.
Hey there, Will.
Hey, buddy.
All right. What do you think of these then? Looking a bit messy, isn't it?
It looks like a flock of pigeons have been hanging out on your stained glass.
It does. That's
It's
a good
filthy.
description. Well, this is pretty much the final bit. This is the cement. When I've cleaned it, it's going to be these nice crisp lines. So I just need to really concentrate on these to make them look really special. But we said we were going to do a frame.
A frame?
Yeah.
For
I've
both
already-
of them?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. You look like you've got a lot to do. I will help you out and get onto those
Thanks so
frames.
much, Will.
Joining forces, Will and Matt put the finishing touches to the restored windows, including a final polish for the new section that Matt has built from scratch.
Just trying to clean out any joins, just making sure everything's looking extra crisp and extra nice. Thanks for helping, Will. Anne is going to be absolutely over the moon with this. It looks fantastic with the light behind it. So with the frame, it's going to look absolutely spectacular.
And just in time, Anne is back to see the theatre windows that are such a powerful reminder of her late husband.
I'm feeling quite nervous, actually. It really does mean a lot to me. They've been in a state of disrepair for so long, and there's a real connection between Sean and myself. I'm not quite sure what to expect.
Hi there, Anne.
Hello, Matt.
All right. Do you want to come round here with me?
Thank you. Oh, look.
All right, it's very exciting.
It is. This
Yeah.
is wonderful.
Yeah, so you remember what they look like?
I do.
It was kind of the bare skeletons of
Yes.
a piece, really.
Yes.
Yeah?
And kind of dusty and a bit sad looking.
It was, wasn't it?
I'm going to close my eyes.
Okay, all right. So I just reveal it for
Okay.
you.
Right. Oh,
There you go.
that's fantastic. and the colours are just wonderful. I can't believe how much light is coming through. Actually, it sparkles. It really, really does. It's beautiful, Matt. Thank you very much indeed.
It's all right. And then the other one you brought in was just this central piece.
Yes.
And was in a bit more of a sorry state.
It was.
So
It was.
I'll show you what we've done with that one.
Okay.
So there you go.
That's amazing, Matt. That's amazing. Because you only had the central bit to work with.
Yeah, we did.
So what happened? So you've recreated all of that, haven't you? Around.
Yeah, I actually saved a couple of Victorian windows from going into a skip from a building site probably about 6 years ago, and I realised that they've got the same colour tints as these, so was able to basically.
That's wonderful.
Use original glass
Yeah.
that matches. So.
How lucky is this?
So I mean, what do you think it would have meant to your husband to have this kind of restored?
Oh, he'd
shining?
be over the moon. This is wonderful. I'm staggered, really, honestly.
I mean, the whole story is so captivating, you know, of them being saved and kind of the theatre coming back to your house.
I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you enough. They're going to be extremely special. My theatrical windows. It's just fantastic. I've got two beautiful pieces. They're full of life again. They'll bring good old Sean back, but in a very happy way, actually. And that's priceless. I can't quite believe it, honestly. It's lovely.